She was a single mother on welfare, so broke she couldn't afford to heat her apartment. She wrote in cafes because they were warmer than her flat. Publishers rejected her manuscript 12 times. 7 years later, she became the first person in history to earn $1 billion from writing books. This is how J.K. Rowling went from £70 per week welfare to a $1 billion fortune through Harry Potter. Joanne Rowling didn't come from privilege or connections. She was a single mother living on government assistance in Edinburgh, Scotland, battling clinical depression and contemplating suicide. But she had one manuscript she believed in, a story about a boy wizard named Harry Potter. That belief, combined with relentless determination and exceptional storytelling, built one of the most valuable literary franchises in history, worth over $25 billion. Her journey proves that talent, persistence, and courage to share your story can transform poverty into extraordinary wealth. Joanne Rowling was born on July 31, 1965, in Yate, Gloucestershire, England. Her parents, Peter and Anne Rowling, were working class. Her father was a Rolls-Royce aircraft engineer, her mother a science technician. They weren't poor, but money was always tight in the household with 2 daughters. Joanne loved stories from childhood. She wrote her first story at age 6 about a rabbit named Rabbit. At Whitey school, she was a bookish, imaginative student who loved English literature. She wasn't popular or particularly social. She was the quiet girl with her nose always in a book. Rowling attended the University of Exeter, studying French and classics from 1983 to 1987. She graduated in 1987 with a Bachelor of Arts degree. After university, she moved to London, working various jobs including as a researcher and bilingual secretary for Amnesty International. Rowling's early 20s were unstable. She moved frequently, worked temporary jobs, and felt directionless. She wanted to write novels but lacked confidence and structure. In 1990, everything changed during a delayed train journey from Manchester to London. Rowling was staring out the window when the idea for Harry Potter fell into her head, a fully formed concept of a boy who didn't know he was a wizard attending a school for magic. She had no pen or paper, so she spent the entire 4-hour journey developing the characters and plot in her mind. That night, Rowling began writing. She worked on Harry Potter evenings and weekends while maintaining her day job. The story consumed her. She created detailed backstories for characters, mapped out 7 books, and developed the magical world's rules and history. Then tragedy struck. In December 1990, Rowling's mother Anne died at age 45 from multiple sclerosis after a 10-year battle with the disease. Rowling was devastated. She'd been close to her mother and hadn't properly said goodbye. The grief was overwhelming. Anne's death profoundly influenced Harry Potter. The series' central themes, death, loss, grief, the importance of love and sacrifice, all stemmed from Rowling's experience losing her mother. Harry's dead parents, Lily and James Potter, were inspired by Rowling's own feelings of loss and longing. In 1991, still grieving her mother's death, Rowling moved to Porto, Portugal, to teach English as a foreign language. The job paid modestly but gave her evenings free to write. She worked on Harry Potter obsessively, completing 3 chapters. In Porto, Rowling met Jorge Arantes, a Portuguese television journalist. They had a passionate, intense relationship. Rowling became pregnant in 1992. She and Arantes married in October 1992, when Rowling was 27 and already showing her pregnancy. The marriage was turbulent from the start. Arantes was controlling and jealous. Arguments were frequent and intense. Rowling later described the relationship as short but violent. In November 1992, Rowling suffered a miscarriage. The loss devastated her and increased tensions with Arantes. Despite the troubled marriage, Rowling became pregnant again. On July 27, 1993, she gave birth to her daughter Jessica Isabel Rowling Arantes. Motherhood brought joy but also intensified the marital problems. In November 1993, just 4 months after Jessica's birth, the marriage collapsed. Rowling later stated that Arantes threw her out of the house following a fight. She left Portugal with Jessica and very little else, returning to the United Kingdom. She was 28 years old, a single mother with a 4-month-old baby, no job, and nowhere permanent to live. Rowling moved to Edinburgh, Scotland, to be near her younger sister Dee, who lived there. She had no home, no income, and no prospects. She applied for welfare benefits, called income support, in the UK, receiving approximately £70 per week, about $140 today, equivalent to roughly $280 in 2024 dollars. Rowling rented a tiny, cold flat in the Leith area of Edinburgh, one of the city's poorest neighborhoods. She couldn't afford to heat the apartment adequately in Edinburgh's harsh winters. Jessica's crib was next to Rowling's bed in the single bedroom. The flat was frequently cold and depressing. This period was the darkest of Rowling's life. She was clinically depressed and contemplated suicide. She later described herself as the biggest failure I knew. She'd failed at marriage, had no career, was living on government assistance, and couldn't properly provide for her daughter. But Rowling had two things keeping her alive: Jessica and her Harry Potter manuscript. Writing became her escape and her therapy. Rowling wrote in cafes because they were warmer than her flat, and because Jessica would fall asleep in her stroller, giving Rowling precious quiet time. She'd nurse a single cup of coffee for hours while writing in longhand on legal pads. She became a regular at Nicholson's Cafe, owned by her brother-in-law, and the Elephant House, cafes that later became tourist attractions as the birthplace of Harry Potter. Despite depression and poverty, Rowling maintained discipline. She enrolled in a teacher training course at Moray House School of Education, funded by a grant, to eventually support herself and Jessica through teaching. She wrote during Jessica's naps, late at night, and whenever she could steal moments. By 1995, Rowling had completed the full manuscript of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, later renamed Sorcerer's Stone in the US. It was 223 pages, approximately 77,000 words. She'd taken 5 years to write it, balancing single motherhood, poverty, depression, and teacher training. Now came the hardest part: finding a publisher. Rowling typed the manuscript on an old manual typewriter, creating 2 copies since she couldn't afford photocopying. She researched literary agents, selecting ones who represented children's books. She sent query letters with sample chapters to multiple agents. Rejection letters arrived steadily. Agents said the book was too long for children. The plot was too complex. The British boarding school setting was old-fashioned. The market was saturated with children's fantasy. After dozens of rejections, agent Christopher Little agreed to represent Rowling in August 1995. Little loved the manuscript and believed it could sell. He submitted Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone to 12 British publishers. All 12 rejected it. Publishers gave various reasons. Children's books didn't make money. It was too long. Boarding school stories were passe. Nobody wanted British-focused fantasy. Rowling was devastated but not defeated. She later said, "I wasn't going to give up until every single publisher turned me down." Christopher Little kept submitting. In 1996, Bloomsbury editor Barry Cunningham received the manuscript. He liked it but wasn't certain. He gave the first chapter to his 8-year-old daughter Alice to read. Alice loved it and demanded the next chapter. That convinced Cunningham. In June 1996, Bloomsbury offered Rowling a £2,500 advance, about $4,000, equivalent to roughly $7,800 today. It wasn't much, barely enough to live on for a few months, but it was validation. Someone believed in Harry Potter. Bloomsbury editor Barry Cunningham gave Rowling crucial advice: get a day job. You'll never make money writing children's books. He wasn't being cruel, he was stating industry reality. Cunningham made one suggestion that would prove historically significant. Use initials instead of Joanne Rowling, because boys might not read books with an obviously female author name. Rowling chose J.K. Rowling, the K for Kathleen, her grandmother's name. This pen name would become one of the most famous in literary history. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was published in the UK on June 26, 1997, with an initial print run of just 1,000 copies to 500 going to libraries. Bloomsbury expected modest sales. The first reviews were positive. The Scotsman called it a hugely entertaining thriller, but sales started slowly. Then word of mouth began. Children who read Harry Potter told their friends. Parents bought copies for relatives. Teachers recommended it to students. Within months, Philosopher's Stone was appearing on British bestseller lists. In December 1997, just 6 months after publication, the book won the Nestle Smarties Book Prize Gold Award. More awards followed, bringing mainstream media attention. American publishers noticed the UK success. Scholastic Corporation entered a bidding war for American rights. In April 1997, Scholastic offered $105,000 for U.S. rights, the highest amount ever paid for a children's book by a first-time author. This was life-changing money for Rowling, who was still on welfare. Rowling used the Scholastic advance to move out of her tiny flat into a better apartment and come off welfare. For the first time since Portugal, she could support herself and Jessica without government assistance. She was 32 years old. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the retitled U.S. version, was published in America on September 1, 1998. Scholastic printed 50,000 copies, 50 times the UK first printing. American reviews were ecstatic. By late 1998, both UK and US editions were bestsellers. Rowling was earning substantial royalties, typically 10 to 15% of retail price for hardcovers. As sales reached millions, Rowling's income soared. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets was published in the UK in July 1998 and the US in June 1999. It debuted at number 1 on bestseller lists in both countries. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban followed in July 1999 UK and September 1999 US. It also debuted at number 1. Rowling was now writing full-time, earning approximately $5 to $10 million annually from book sales and foreign rights. The woman on welfare 3 years earlier was a multimillionaire. The Harry Potter phenomenon exploded with Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, published simultaneously in the UK and US on July 8, 2000. The first printing was 5.3 million copies in the US and 1 million in the UK. Midnight release parties at bookstores became cultural events. Goblet of Fire sold 3 million copies in the US in the first 48 hours, a book sales record that still stands. Rowling appeared on Time magazine's cover. President Clinton and British Prime Minister Tony Blair publicly praised the books. Harry Potter had become a global phenomenon. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, 2003, had a first printing of 8.5 million copies in the US. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, 2005, sold 6.9 million US copies in the first 24 hours. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, 2007. The final book sold 11 million US copies in the first 24 hours, still the fastest-selling book in history. By 2007, the series had sold over 450 million copies worldwide in 67 languages. Rowling's earnings from book sales alone exceeded $1 billion, making her the first person in history to earn $1 billion from writing books. But books were just the beginning. In 1999, Warner Brothers purchased film rights to the first 4 Harry Potter books for £1 million, about $1.6 million. Rowling negotiated creative control clauses. The films had to be British produced with primarily British actors, and she had approval over scripts. She also negotiated unprecedented royalty percentages. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was released in November 2001, earning $974 million worldwide. Chamber of Secrets, 2002, earned $878 million. Prisoner of Azkaban, 2004, earned $796 million. The 8 Harry Potter films ultimately grossed $7.7 billion worldwide, making it the third highest grossing film franchise in history. Rowling's film earnings were substantial. She received an upfront fee plus royalties estimated at 5 to 10% of profits. Film royalties alone earned Rowling hundreds of millions of dollars. Merchandise became another massive revenue stream. Warner Brothers licensed Harry Potter for toys, clothing, video games, and theme park attractions. Global Harry Potter merchandise sales exceeded $7 billion. Rowling received royalty percentages from merchandise licensing. In 2010, Universal Studios opened the Wizarding World of Harry Potter theme park attraction in Orlando, Florida. Universal later opened Harry Potter attractions in Hollywood, Osaka, and Beijing. Rowling negotiated royalty deals for theme park revenue. By 2004, Forbes estimated J.K. Rowling's net worth at $1 billion, making her the first person to become a billionaire from writing books. At age 38, she was wealthier than Queen Elizabeth II. The woman who'd been on welfare just 7 years earlier was among the richest people in Britain. Rowling's wealth came from multiple sources. Book royalties generated approximately $1 to $1.5 billion with 600 million books sold. Film royalties generated approximately $300 to $500 million from 8 films grossing $7.7 billion. Merchandise licensing generated approximately $200 to $350 million. Theme park royalties brought an estimated $10 to $20 million annually. Pottermore, the digital platform Rowling founded in 2012, generated approximately $50 to $100 million. During peak years from 2008 to 2010, Rowling earned approximately $300 million annually. But Rowling also became one of Britain's most generous philanthropists. In 2001, she established the Volant Charitable Trust, focusing on alleviating social deprivation. She's donated over $150 million through Volant to combat poverty, support single parents, and fund research on multiple sclerosis. In 2005, Rowling co-founded the children's high-level group, now Lumos, working to end the institutionalization of children worldwide. She's donated over $20 million to Lumos. Rowling donated to political causes, university research, and crisis relief. In 2008, she gave £1 million to the Labour Party. In 2011, she donated £1 million to the Multiple Sclerosis Society, Scotland. During COVID-19, she donated £1 million to support vulnerable people. In 2012, Forbes removed Rowling from its billionaires list, estimating her wealth had dropped to approximately $817 million due to charitable giving and taxes. Rowling's response: "You have a moral responsibility when you've been given far more than you need, to do wise things with it and give intelligently." Rowling's later career has been marked by continued success and controversy. She wrote adult novels under her own name and under the pseudonym Robert Galbraith, both achieving bestseller status but not Harry Potter-level success. In the 2010s and 2020s, Rowling became controversial for her public statements on sex and gender identity. In 2020, she published an essay defending her position on biological sex, which many transgender activists criticized. Major stars of the Harry Potter films, including Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint, publicly disagreed with her views. The controversy has been polarizing, dominating discussion of Rowling's legacy in recent years. Despite controversy, the Harry Potter franchise's commercial success continues. The Fantastic Beasts prequel film series earned over $1.8 billion. The stage play Harry Potter and the Cursed Child has grossed over $440 million. Warner Bros. Announced a Harry Potter television series in development, with Rowling serving as executive producer. J.K. Rowling's wealth timeline tells the complete story. In 1995, she received £70 per week on welfare, approximately £3,640 annually. In 1996, she received a £2,500 book advance. In 1997, the U.S. rights sale brought $105,000. By 2001, she earned an estimated $50 million. In 2004, Forbes reported her net worth at $1 billion. From 2008 to 2010, she had peak earnings of $300 million annually. In 2012, she dropped to $870 million due to charity and taxes. In 2024, her net worth is estimated at $1 billion. The total Harry Potter franchise value exceeds $25 billion. Books have generated $7.7 billion from 600+ million copies sold. The 8 films earned $7.7 billion. Merchandise sales reached $7+ billion. Theme parks generate $500 million annually. Stage plays have brought in $440+ million. Rowling's estimated lifetime earnings before taxes and charity total $1.50 to $2 billion. J.K. Rowling was on welfare in 1995, receiving £70 per week, living in a cold Edinburgh flat, battling depression. She had a 4-year-old daughter and a manuscript that 12 publishers had rejected. 9 years later, she was a billionaire. Today, the Harry Potter franchise is worth $25 billion. And Rowling's net worth is $1 billion, despite giving away hundreds of millions to charity. Her wealth came from 3 decisions: believing in her story despite rejection, negotiating ownership and creative control, and diversifying into films, merchandise, and theme parks. Most authors accept publisher terms and earn 10% royalties. Rowling negotiated unprecedented control over adaptations, earning far more than typical authors. But Rowling's legacy transcends money. She made reading cool for an entire generation. She proved children's literature could be sophisticated, dealing with death, prejudice, and moral complexity. She created a franchise that brings joy to hundreds of millions. The woman who wrote in cafés because they were warmer than her flat became the first person to earn $1 billion from writing books. That's not luck. That's talent combined with determination and the courage to believe in your story when everyone says no.